How do you overcome the poison of attachment? By learning to let go of desires and expectations. But why is that so hard? And how can you balance non-attachment with goals and planning? Stay tuned to find out.
Life is a journey,
not a destination,
and you don't need to go it alone.
Join me for practical tips and strategies on using mindfulness techniques and creating mindset shifts that can reduce stress, improve productivity, and give you a fresh perspective on work and life.
This is a Candy Factory Mini.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset
with Jose Johnson.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Mastering the Mindful Mindset. I'm your host, Jose Johnson. Today, we're going to talk about attachment and desire. But first, let's set the stage properly by doing a little reset. Now, if you've watched any of our previous episodes, you'll hopefully remember this exercise. But if you haven't watched them yet, don't worry. You can still follow along. Just make sure that at some point you go back to episode 1 and watch it so you can get all of the details. So either sitting or standing, put one hand just below your belly button and the other hand on the small of your back. And imagine that your abdomen is like a big balloon. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in, filling the belly. So deep breath in. And a nice slow breath out. And again, a nice deep breath in. And a nice slow breath out. And one more time, deep breath in. And let it go. Relax. All right, hopefully that little reset has allowed you to clear your mind and get you into the right state of mind for our time together today. In episode 22, I talked about the 2 darts and the 3 poisons. The first darts are the pains that you experience as a part of life. The second darts are the pains that you inflict on yourself because of the first dart. The first darts are the cause of pain. The second darts are the cause of our suffering. And the second darts are tipped with one of the 3 poisons. And those poisons are ignorance, attachment, and aversion. So today we're going to take a look at the poison of attachment and how to apply the antidotes of selflessness, openness, and contentment. Attachment is probably the most significant cause of our suffering. Attachment is also referred to as desire. And while desire isn't necessarily always a bad thing, when we let it control our lives, we set ourselves up for unnecessary suffering. Now, in the past, there was an interesting method for trapping monkeys. Trappers would take something like a coconut or a calabash. Now, that's the bottle-shaped gourd that people used to make wine jugs out of. And they would make an opening in it that was just large enough for a monkey to put its open hand through. Then they would put food inside of that container, something like a banana or a piece of fruit. And then they would tie one end of a rope around the container and the other end to a tree and just wait for a monkey to come along. When a monkey realized that there was a sweet treat in the container, they would reach inside to grab the prize. But the hole in the trap was only big enough for the monkey's empty hand to get through. As long as it was holding the fruit, it was trapped, and the monkey would struggle and yank and pull in a futile attempt to get its hand and the goodies out of the trap. And here's the thing. Even though the simple action of releasing their grip on the fruit would give the monkey the freedom it was struggling to find, the monkeys generally did not let go. They stayed stuck in a trap of their own making, a trap that only worked because the monkey desired the prize more than their freedom. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's a cute story, but I ain't no monkey. I'm top of the food chain, yo. I'm not dumb enough to stay trapped. I'd let go without hesitation. No. Oh, really? Oh, look, here's the deal. We all have something that's referred to as our monkey mind. It's that inquisitive part of our brain that makes us jump from thought to thought. Now, it can be playful and spontaneous, but it can also be easily distracted and uncontrollable. And just like that monkey with its hand caught in the jar, it wants what it wants when it wants it, and will too often hold on to what we prize, even though it keeps us trapped and in pain. And that's attachment. Attachment comes from a place of want. We want things to always go our way. We want to always be right. We want to be the center of the universe. Now, there's a difference between connection and attachment. Attachment is rigid in its nature. Connections are flexible. Attachments are what keep us stuck. The object of our attachment can be a person, a place, a process, or an outcome, our memories, or even our dreams. Attachment leads us to believe that there's only one outcome that is acceptable, one right way, one right time that events should unfold. Attachment to outcomes is probably the most common occurrence. You know what you want, and you will accept no substitute. Anything less than the exact result you envision is a failure. But is that really the case? Now, look, I'm a big believer in goal setting and visualizations. If you don't have a clear idea of where you want to go, you'll probably never get there. But when we're attached to the goal, we actually limit ourselves. Now, I'm reminded of the quote by Henry David Thoreau. What you get by achieving your goal is not as important as what you become by achieving your goal. When we become attached to the end product, we lose sight of all the wonderful things that we do, that we see, that we learn along the way. Because here's the truth of the matter. Many times what you want the most at this moment is not the best for you or the best you could do. Another thing that we become attached to is the process. Now, that may sound contradictory since I just got done talking about focusing on the process over the product. But what I mean is that it's common to become rigid in how we believe things should happen. We become obsessed with plans and timelines. We want things to happen when we want them to happen. We become attached to the script that we create in our head and how life should play out. Now, if you've ever run into a bridezilla, you've seen this type of attachment in action. Every detail is mapped out in their mind, and even the slightest variation, hiccup, or change of plans send them into a rage because it will spoil the image of their perfect day. This is because the how has become more important than the fact that they're actually getting what's supposed to be their ultimate desire, getting married. It's not uncommon to become attached to a person. Now, feeling attached or connected can certainly be a good thing, but when it becomes the obsessive clinging form of attachment that we're talking about today, this is a recipe for disaster. Sometimes the attachment is bad for the other person because you have a stranglehold on them. You can't allow them their freedom or their individuality. Other times the attachment poisons you. You know that the relationship is causing you pain, but you just can't seem to let go. And sometimes the attachment is to your identity. This is what happens when you define yourself by what you do and not simply who you are. This often happens with people who are struggling with career changes or with parents when their children grow up and eventually move out on their own. We can also become attached to places. This usually plays out in one of two ways. The first is being stuck where you are. These are the people who are miserable where they are, but can't bring themselves to leave because it's all they know, because it's their home. The other is the exact opposite. These are the people who are attached to where they used to be. They can't fully embrace where they are now because their hearts and minds are somewhere else, the home that they left behind. Well, so here's my take on this. Now, I've moved around quite a bit in my life, and this taught me a very important lesson at a young age. Home is where you are. And as Confucius and Buckaroo Banzai both said, no matter where you go, there you are. One of the things that gets us stuck in places is that they are tied to memories and emotions. But where do your memories and emotions live? Not in a house or a city. They live in us. So no matter where you go, you bring those things right along with you, the good and the bad. And just because you change your location doesn't guarantee that you're going to change your life. Sure, maybe in the short term, you'd be much happier if you lived by the water or if you moved to the mountains. But if you're unhappy with yourself, you might be able to escape your current environment, but you're still trapped unless you let go of the thoughts, beliefs, and habits that put you in your funk in the first place. So, how do we get ourselves unstuck? How do we develop non-attachment? Well, the first step is to become more selfless. Attachment is selfishness personified. Why doesn't the monkey let go of the fruit? Because it wants it for itself. It doesn't want to leave it for some other monkey to get. But when we can accept that it's perfectly natural to not get everything you want out of life, to understand that society, God, or the universe don't have a personal vendetta against you, that just because you want things to be a certain way doesn't mean that they should be, that you are not the center of the universe, then you can begin to let go of expectations that are fueled by desire. Another step is to become more open. Attachment closes us off to the infinite possibilities of life. If success or happiness are only defined by one person, place, or thing, then we might miss out on something even better. Understand that what you want right now is based on what you know right now. And if you've been paying attention to any of these episodes, you know that we are constantly learning and growing. And as our knowledge changes, our perspective changes. And what we once desired, what we once thought was the missing ingredient to our happiness will more than likely not be in the future, right? So just think back to your youth. Remember that one toy that would just make your world wonderful if you got it? Or that one person who, if they just paid attention to you, then life would be perfect? Well, odds are that you don't even know where that toy is, and you may actually want to forget about that other person because they ended up being a little bit of a jerk. And as with most things, gratitude and contentment are powerful medicines. And they're useful antidotes for the poison of attachment. Attachment is desire. It causes us to need what we want more than want what we need. Desire is looking at life and only seeing what is missing. Gratitude is looking at life and being thankful for all that's already there. And contentment is learning to make peace with the present moment. So, when you're suffering from the pain of a first dart, make sure that you protect yourself from the second poison dart of attachment by being more selfless. Think about the needs of others. Put your ego in check. The world does not always need to revolve around you. Be generous. Be open to new possibilities. On the journey of life, we often have the most breathtaking experiences when we have to take a little bit of a detour. Be content. More is not always better. Be grateful. Every experience in life is truly a gift. And be mindful. When you are not attached to the process or the product, the people or the places, the past or the future, you can fully enjoy the present moment for what it is and what it brings. So there you have it. I hope that you've enjoyed our time together and that you have some new ideas on ways to prevent your pain from turning into suffering. If you have a question or topic you'd like me to cover in a future episode, just drop it in the comment section. I'll do my best to help you out. Make sure you subscribe and share this episode with someone that you feel could benefit from this information. And also, please take time to check out all of the fantastic programming brought to you here on the Candy Factory Collective. So until next time, remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So make it great. Mastering the Mindful Mindset is part of the Candy Factory mini-series and is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcast.
Jose Johnson has traveled the world competing and teaching martial arts.
He's an entrepreneur, musician, author, and speaker.
Check out Jose's other podcast,
The Trumpet Gurus Hang,
and learn more about his book,
Mindfulness Secrets, at his website,
josejohnson.com.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset is produced by the Candy Factory Collective.
at the Candy Factory Coworking campus in Lancaster, PA.
Our music was written and recorded by Jose. Production support by Anna Tran.
administrative support by Ann Kirby, Arianna Henderson,
Krisha Martzel, Jason Mundok, and Robert Diggs.
Notes and links can be found at the show post at our website,
CandyFactoryCollective.com.
Candy Factory.
Collective.